Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Sheela Foam Limited Q1FY22 results conference call, hosted by Edelweiss Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Nihal Mahesh Sham from Edelweiss Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Faizan. On behalf of Edelweiss, I would like to welcome you all to the Q1FY22 earnings conference call of Sheela Foam Limited. From the management today, we have Mr. Rahul Gautam, Managing Director, Mr. Tushar Gautam, Director, Mr. Rakesh Chahar, Director, Sales and Marketing, Mr. Nikhil Date, Group CFO, and Mr. Devinder Ahuja, CFO, Indian Operations. I would now like to hand over the call to the management for their opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nihal. Thanks a lot for conducting this conference and for arranging this conference. I also want to thank all the participants for this first quarter FY22 call that we are having. I know that the last call was on Sunday, and that time Corona was completely at its peak. And now, of course, for the last many days and many weeks, it has been down. And we are all praying and hoping that this so-called third wave should not come at all, Like always, we begin by our vision statement. Our vision: we will continue to be recognized as a leading organization in quality comfort products while practicing values of integrity, reliability, proactivity, and transparency. To do business with a smile, for customer delight, and a commitment to society. Thank you for patiently listening to me. So my first comment is that the world is really moving so fast that, from the time that the quarter closed to our board meeting on Saturday and to this investor call, already 45 days have kind of gone by. And in this 45 days, so much has happened. Raw material positions have completely changed. Corona positions have completely changed. And one feels that one is a little out of whack. I would say, and that's why when we begin to compare our results, comparing them on Y basis appears as extremely far away. And we will come to that when we talk about the sales. In the meantime, let me just say that 75 years in the life of a nation may be small, but a lot has happened there too, and quickly. As the country changes and moves and prepares for the next 75 years, I just wish all of you a very happy Independence Day, which was concluded yesterday. However, the 75th year would be continuing. And we pray that all chronic problems which have been there in the country for a long time are resolved as quickly as possible, like Ram Mandir and Article 370, etc. And the country has all the energy and time and resources to attend to unfortunate things like the pandemic which is going on, or look at the positives like preparing for Olympics and, of course, preparing for the economic opportunities that are coming by. Just staying on the Olympics, we all are fully aware that there was a good performance by India, and whether it was the women participation and the results thereof, or the Indian hockey team, which after so many years, 40 odd years, has got a medal, and of course the golden athletics, which was there for the first time. I just am happy to convey to all of you that from our side, we have rewarded each and every medal winner, and our top of the line sleepable mattresses have been given to them as an appreciation for what they have done. It's also true that Sheela Foam is in its 50th year, and this is a good time to reflect and prepare for the next 50 years, which we are doing. Unfortunately, we can only communicate through mediums like this, but soon as things settle down, I'm sure that we will be able to connect up on a face-to-face basis and at least partake or participate in this celebrations and take all your good wishes and support and encouragement. Now, reflecting on the Q1 FY22 results. So there is a bit of dilemma, as I said right in the beginning, on this Y on Y kind of comparison. If we go back to the Q1 of last year, FY2021, we will see that as far as the Indian operations are concerned, almost about 1.5 months was in a complete lockdown position, complete lockdown. And the one operated only about a month or so. And therefore, the sales were on a low level. When we compare that to this time, it's a great jump. It's more than 100%, that you have done. So it looks as if one has progressed a lot. But to me, it's a mirage. We have to compare the sales to the adjacent period, which was really the Q4. Even in Q1 22, there were lockdowns. There were bad periods like April, May, where everybody was running around for medicines and hospital beds and oxygen, etc. However, the markets were open, so we were operating. Sales were happening far better than the previous year. However, much lower than Q4. In India, we were only about 60% of that sales that happened. So historically, one may feel good about it. However, actually, it was the sales should have been far more. Completely attributable to Corona. However, that will be distorting the results and distorting the prism through which we see them. As far as our raw materials are concerned, they continue to trouble us with wild fluctuations. There are almost changes to the extent of 15 to 20%. In fact, one particular month it was almost 25% change, and all happening in less than a month's time. Of course, it is primarily on account of availability and depends, of course, on the global shipping that is making these things available. But the global shipping, as we all know, is in a complete disarray. We experience that on the input side, on the raw material side, and we also experience that on our export side. And again, if we go back to the root cause of all that, it started with the Corona part. Would probably settle with the Corona vanishing, but to my mind, it will take even if when Corona vanishes, will take at least 5-6 months or maybe 8, right up 12 months to really become stable. The world is so well connected today, connected and unstable, that a small disturbance anywhere else in the world just assumes the exponential impacts on the other parts of the world. I mean, if there was one word to describe our prayers on a daily basis, we yearn for stability, though fully appreciate that it cannot be like the days before. However, we are also sure that it cannot be like what is happening now. This has to go. So while we wait for this, so-called stability to kind of come in, we are preparing strong countermeasures for that. And in the next month or 2 months, we should be seeing those impacts of those countermeasures. Reflecting on our subsidiaries, Australia has been stable. They did not have much of a lockdown. They operated well even in the last full year. However, now they are impacted. So today morning when I had a call, the corona cases going up to about 400 per day, and they are paranoid about that. There are, when they say you have to close down a unit or you have to do so many tracking of the people, etc., quarantining. So all that is beginning to happen in Australia, where we thought that it was completely isolated and they had done well to keep themselves away from anything else. Spain, on the other hand, has been working very well. They have been growing and growing even this year. They have learned to live with corona. So their cases are far more. However, they know how to take care of it, and they are quite blasé about it. They have in fact started vaccinating even the children under 12, which is a first. Our third subsidiary, which is the IT initiative, SAPO in India, based out of India, is progressing well, both in the Indian markets as well as in the outside markets. And mostly in the Indian markets, mostly they have been government-based orders, and outside have been on a few exceptional products that we deal with. Just to also update you on the environment and social front that we deal with through the operations as well as through our foundation, Sleepwell Foundation. So we have contributed with an oxygen plant at 2 places. We are ensuring vaccination for all our people, and in fact holding vaccination camps for our people as well as for the hinterland or for the people living around that area. And I'm also happy to share with you that the new plastic recycling policy or the plastic usage policy that the government has announced a couple of days back, we are already compliant with that and in fact ahead on that. So as we search for this stability, and if we don't get it, we will create that and pray that the third wave, which is being talked about so much, should never come. I would just say thank you once again, and I'm open to questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 at this time. First question is from the line of Sivakumar K from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, can you delve deeper on the raw material position currently, and what are you doing to tackle the same? Because we have never seen this kind of a margin in the past. And would you be open to taking price hikes to combat this pressure on the margin? Thank you.
So, thank you, Shivakumar. The raw materials are fluctuating. Look, and they are fluctuating based on availability issue. What we have definitely been able to do is to ensure that we don't run out of them, and availability has we maintained that. However, on the pricing front, we have to take those fluctuations. Going forward, what do we think it's going to be like that? I think it's going to fluctuate around for the next couple of months for sure. The availability we will ensure. Impact on the margins, you're right that they're there. One thing that we must appreciate is that because of the fluctuations and the out of sync with the steps that we take and the impact that we see in the market, for a particular period, the margins may look satisfactory. For another period, they may look terrible, and another period they may look. So there is this part that is happening. There is a lag behind that. However, as I mentioned earlier, we are taking countermeasures to get out of this thought, first of all, saying that this is a temporary phenomena and this is kind of going away and all that. I think we're reasonably convinced that this is not going to go away, and even if it is going to die down, it will be over a period of time, and therefore these countermeasures are being taken, which is, I can only talk in very broad terms at this point of time. One, of course, is on storage part, to ensure that we don't need to compromise on prices because of availability, and we don't need to pay more. The second one is, of course, on the selling price part of it. I'm going to leave it at that, but just want to assure you that we are taking the countermeasures and they will be in place.
Right, sir. So, but specifically to polyol, that was a one-off thing. That was what the general perception was, that polyol has never given us a problem in the past. Has at least polyol cooled off a bit in Q2?
So you're right, Shiva. During my entire tenure in this industry, I have never ever seen polyol, first of all, fluctuate like this, and second, to be actually way above CPI. General principle over the long periods of, let's say, if we look at the last 20 years or 30 years, general principles have been that CPI is twice the price of polyol. But this is the first time that polyol has even crossed CPI. It's primarily linked to the taste. And, one of the chemicals that is used to manufacture polyol, which is propylene oxide, is a very hazardous material. And transporting of that is global transporting of that has come under strong because of the shipping that is there. And this propylene oxide is gas at normal temperature and pressure, has to be pressurized into pressure vessels and then transported. And that has come under that. And that's the reason that the capacity, if you look at a 30,000-foot view, the capacity is perfect. There is enough capacity for the total consumption in the world, and it is just the availability, which is creating this. And polyol is primarily on that account. Do we see this continuing? Of course not. This is it cannot because the very cost of it and is far lower than CPI here.
Thank you, sir. I'll join the queue for follow-up questions.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Vandana Soni from SBI Caps Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. You mentioned about the plastic policy announced by the government recently. Just wanted to understand what exactly is this policy, what have we done to be compliant, and are we ahead of peers on this? Do we have any advantage over peers on plastic policy due to this plastic policy? Thank you.
Number one, as far as the plastic policy is concerned, it is primarily based on the thickness of plastics which can be used for packaging purposes. That there is a minimum level, and that minimum level will keep changing over the years to go right up to, I think it is 70 microns that will go to. That's one. The second one is that wherever there are one usage plastic items like cups or phones and stuff like that, they will be banned over a period. We don't need to worry about that part. On the packaging part, we are way ahead. So currently, I think the law is 20 microns. We are way ahead of that. And 20 or is it 50 microns? But we are way ahead of that. And the second part on the policy where I say that we have been ahead is that all our packaging materials are in the category of recyclable products. Most mattresses are packed in PVC, which may possibly give some little more luster to it, etc., but is not easily recyclable. While our packaging materials are all easily recyclable. So that's why I say that we are different from the other parts in the industry on that part. That's why I see that we are ahead of the plastic products.
Understood. Thank you, sir, for that. My second question is on Spain margin. It's down significantly. So what are the reasons behind Spain margin going down on a YOY basis or quarterly basis?
So, look, as I said, it's the sales part of it, which is the major culprit. And as I was mentioning, that on a Y-on-Y basis, the sales appear as have grown a lot, but that's a mirage. The sales are nowhere compared to, let's say, the Q4 of last year. So primarily, it's on that. However, there are a few other things that have happened this time. The raw material prices have been going up, or the impact of that has been going up. And to even achieve these kind of sales, we had to do far more sales expenses to ensure that we get a healthy top line.
Thank you, sir, on that. Earlier you mentioned we are exporting from Spain also. So have we started exporting from Spain? I understand this quarter export was impacted, but just wanted to understand what is the quantum of exports from Spain and India in this quarter?
Tushar, would you take that question, please?
Yeah, sure. So I think from both geographies, from India and Spain, we are looking at export as an overall potential. We have just classified what products make more sense to export from Spain and what make more sense to export from India. Still in a scale-up mode. The gestation period for these customers and orders is usually pretty long with sampling and testing and then future supply orders. But a significant ramp up in terms of visibility of orders is expected starting this month, August, and then ramping up all the way till December. I don't want to mention any exact numbers. We can talk about that offline, but it will be a fairly significant number by December. But the next step jump is happening now as we speak.
But Tushar, can you also give the numbers for the last quarter? And whatever small or big, but exports have started from Spain and have started from India both.
No, they've started from both. They've started from both geographies. And I think
in the last quarter.
Yeah, if I'm not incorrect, I'll just pull that number out. But last quarter overall would be around 15 to 17 crores.
Thank you, sir. I have no further question. If I have, I will get back on queue. Thank you.
Thank you, Manta.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Binoy Zariwala from Sunidhi Securities and Finance. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you for the opportunity. Rahulji, I just wanted to understand the portfolio of products that we offer on the mattress side, and what is the price range? From where does it start, and how much? So on the premium side, till what range do we cover?
Rakesh, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I can do that. So the portfolio starts from as low as I'm talking about a double size mattress, which is 6 feet by 6 feet. It would start from as low as say 5,000, and it will go up to 1 lakh plus.
And I believe this 1 lakh plus would be made to order mattresses, right?
So mostly yes, because they follow more a direct to dealer kind of model, because they are not typically stocked at the distributor end or the dealer end. So though they are at display at our showrooms, where the presentation is made to the consumer, and once decided, then it is shipped to the consumer.
And the rupee 5,000 mattress, that the starting range, am I correct that this would be the Starlight range, or this is for the Sleepwell range that you're talking of?
So Starlight range is we distribute Starlight and Feather Foam in the MBOs, and as far as EBOs are concerned, all these products are Sleepwell. So I was talking about Sleepwell products. Because our showrooms are catering to both low, mid, upper, mid, high kind of customers. So these products are available in Sleepwell also.
Right, and Starlight range would start from and go up to?
So Starlight range would start from maybe about 4,000 and would go up to about 8,000, 9,000. So we also have a Feather Foam range there, which is an all foam mattress. So both Starlight and Feather Foam, if I see, they would start somewhere from 4,000 and we go up to about 20,000 bucks. And these products are primarily for the MBO channel.
Understood. And this, you said 4 to 20,000 is the range for a double size mattress, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now on a bit more on this, do you see are there any portfolio gaps in terms of pricing, that you see within our portfolio, or does our portfolio straddle across the pricing pyramid, let's say from 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, and 1 lakh plus? So are there any portfolio gaps, do you see, or do you think we have a fairly wide portfolio?
So by and large, at the lower price point, the gap between two products is smaller, and as you go up from 20,000, then the gaps are larger, and they're sold more on technology and more on the appearance, thickness of the mattress, comfort levels. So as such, I don't see a gap right now, but see, we also keep refurbishing or upgrading the products based on their proposition, new technology, new configurations, new optics. So as such, there are no gaps, but it's a continual process where we keep refreshing the products at different price points.
Understood. As a pricing policy on the mattress side of the business, is it that we have a policy that every year we typically, irrespective of price fluctuation, and notwithstanding the current raw material pricing scenario, that every year we typically kick in a particular percentage of price increase? Do we have any policy of that, or it's more RM oriented,
So on the yeah.
I'll take that question. So on a, we are saying not of times when there is these wild fluctuations happening. We're not talking of those times. We are talking of standard times, let's say pre-2019. That time we had two times in a year when we would review the prices, 1st of April and 1st of October. And whatever were impacts of inflation, those would be brought in, and that's how it was. Right now, it is, of course, as I said, any time.
And Rahulji, this is a typical price revision would be in what range?
Typical price, typical means this is not typical times. I keep repeating that.
No, not right now, and under steady state conditions.
3 to 5% every time it is reviewed.
Okay. And how does this pricing work on the B2B side of the business, where you're dealing with automotive customers? I understand in the past you've alluded that it's a cost plus model, but what is the time lag there before we can pass on the RM fluctuation?
So B2B has a very wide range of products and a wide range of segments. So there is the shoe industry, and there's the auto industry, and there is the lingerie industry, and there is the sound absorption industry, etc. Each industry has its own ways of handling such changes. And even within one industry, there are two different methods. The simplest, of course, is where we have a rise and fall clause, and say that raw material rises, we pass that on. If it falls, we pass that on, and there is a formula for that. And most of the automobile industry, we would be doing that. Then there are areas which is where the shoe industry, it may depend a little bit on the competition. It may depend on some changes that may have there, etc. And the rise and fall is not because the industry itself is not so structured and so formal that you can have such kind of clauses. So it depends on the B2B changes depends on the segment. But generally the rise and fall catches up. There are lags which are short, or sometimes the lags are higher.
Thank you. Mr. Zariwala, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions? Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Shah from Investec. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Couple of questions. First is, can you elaborate more on the export opportunity which is there for the company, both from sales out of India as well as our overseas factories?
Yep. Tushar, you want to take that question? Okay. I don't know. There. Anyway, the export opportunity has completely surfaced after the China-USA pact that has come about. There were these anti-dumping levy of duties on stuff coming in from there. The Chinese did some other ways of reaching out, which was to adjacent countries like Cambodia, Laos, and Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. Even going right up to Europe and going up to even purchasing or buying manufacturing industries in the U.S. However, I think the American government is now getting smarter on that and slowly trying to block all those areas to of course, duties and duty structures. The opportunity that has arisen for India in this process, I think the Indian industry has been caught a little caught napping, I would say. The opportunity is big. The time frame for achieving it is small, and during that period, and we have to ensure that the raw material prices are remain okay, and above all, shipping out of containers. Those are the big challenges which are there. But just going straight to the question that you asked, that how big is the opportunity, I can only say that currently what the business is, it can be doubled. If we play the game, we means it's not only us as a company, so the country and the ensuing logistics and etc. that is there. We could easily double our top line.
That's useful, sir. So just a follow-up over here. What would this mean for the cost curve of the company? Like, how is the company positioned on cost curve? And secondly, what implication would it have on the working capital?
So let me answer the second question. On the working capital, there is not going to be any impacts at all, at least not for us as a company. We do have reasonable reserves, number one. Number two, the availability of finances is there. And above all, with the export people or our customers outside that we have dealt with, the money comes in along with the order or within 30 days. So there is no issue on the working capital part. What was your first question? Could you just repeat that, please?
What is the positioning of the company when it comes to the cost curve? So one is the duties which are there, which will definitely help Indian companies. But when it comes to purely cost curve positioning, are we at par, or are there other regions like Vietnam which can actually compete for this export opportunity?
So let me say we are marginally more expensive than Vietnam. I'm just taking an example from Southeast Asia. They're marginally more expensive. But I just don't tire myself in talking about the oscillations or the fluctuations in the raw materials which are happening at this point of time. This comparison becomes very difficult to do because the fluctuations are different at different places. However, assuming things are steady, we are only very marginally higher than Vietnam or Southeast Asia. The anti-dumping duties, if we put them coming from a Chinese supplier, we would be better. And in any case, the American customers are looking for developing large alternatives. So they are also ready to pay a little more.
That's very useful, sir. Sir, just my second question is, wanted to understand, are you happy with the growth rates that the company has been doing over the last 2 to 3 years? What I'm trying to gauge is your reflection upon when you look at 3 segments, say low, mid, and premium. The growth rates that each of the segment has given you, are you happy with that? And if you can just put it in conjunction, how the competitive intensity is for the 3 buckets, it will be very useful, sir. Thank you.
Ritesh, happy with the growth rate, always unhappy, Dissatisfied, always unhappy. There is undoubtedly in the last 2 years when the corona impact has come in, there is a great pressure on the prices, the average selling prices to be going down, and therefore the effort of our team is always to keep pulling them up. However, the impact does take place. So whether it is the starlights and feather foams or it is the lower end of people parts, they tend to sell quicker and easier. We would be happier if the average selling price was at least 10 to 15% higher than what it was, what it is now. And our efforts are always in that direction.
Sure, sir. This is very helpful, sir. Thank you so much. I'll join back the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hiren Trivedi from Axis Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So there are two questions. One is on the demand scenario shaping up, given the increasing vaccinations and the unlocking happening, and also the upcoming festive season. And also, could you, throw some more light on the industry growth rate over the next 3 to 4 years?
Thank you, Hiren. Thank you for asking these questions. But these also remain as questions in our minds, especially at the time that you are asking. It's very difficult to predict and forecast the demand scenario. So I will always say that it is subject to the third wave coming in a very, very mild form that is there. I see a very good time coming forward, and even sort of continuing now, which is supposed to be the rainy season and the off season and all that kind of thing. So because of the pent up stuff and all that, I see that the season should be very good to my mind. Rains have been good. The agricultural part of it is okay. Economy is doing all right. Inflation had gone up, has also kind of come down. The only thing that I would say against it would be jobs or joblessness, which may have sort of increased in size. But otherwise, the season should be good. That's as far as this year's thoughts are concerned, and like, of course, the third wave part of it, I just keep saying, although we are far better prepared, we are vaccinated, as you have said, that the vaccination rates are up. There is a kind of a herd immunity which is kind of building up, whether people have had it or exposed to it. And compared to any other part in the world, I think this is the only country where the Delta variant, which is the fiercest of the lot, has we have been exposed to the Delta variant, so we've already kind of gone through that. Industry rate for the coming 2 to 3 years, again, there will have to be some kind of a condition put to that, which is that how long this corona thing lasts. But corona, I mean, honestly, even if you look at the last few pandemics, 3 to 4 years it takes for anything to convert from a pandemic to an endemic. So 3 years, in spite of all these fast vaccines and all that kind of coming out, and we would be closing the 3 years soon. So it's not too far. Next 2 to 3 years, I mean, I see good times here. That's all I can say.
So my second question is on the realization. So for the realizations on the mattresses were a bit higher, during the quarter. So could you throw more light on how, these have increased and any observations on the sales trends for the type of mattresses which are being sold, that is economy or premium, where the demand is, higher?
And this is a bit of a tough question. It is still so impacted by on the input side that I mean, at the moment it's difficult. But I would say that we would, if you just reach us out offline, we will work out something and say that in details how each of the segments have been working and the realizations on each of the segments.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sivakumar K from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the follow-up opportunity. Sir, last time you referred to a market study to be undertaken just to get a sense on our market share. Has that been done, and any idea as to how the market share has panned out over the last 2 quarters?
Rakesh, would you fill me up? I don't think that study has taken place during this Corona time. When was the last one done?
The last one was done in January 2020, and so it is waiting for normalcy because this also entails extensive visit to all parts of the country. So, and it's a syndicated research. So we just had one association meeting where it is now being looked at end November, beginning December. So then we can initiate this process. Hopefully that time, I think condition would be much better.
Right. And Rakeshji, what is the sales from the e-commerce channel that we did over the last 1 quarter?
Yeah, Rakesh, go ahead.
So in terms of absolute numbers in the quarter one, so I don't know, sir, but this is again related to segments, the segment-wise breakup. But but we have done reasonably well. So we are 3x up from the corresponding time, and in terms of volume, we are in terms of sales, we would be upwards of about 12 to 15 crores.
Okay. And sorry, sir, you're saying something?
Rakesh, that's for the quarter, right?
Yeah, that's for the quarter because the lockdown had also impacted the e-com. Right. So so July was very good, but for the first quarter, April, May, June, it would be at that level, about 12 crores.
Okay. And now we'll be the number 2 player, sir, and we are closing in on the number 1 player.
So we would be close number 2. Because it keeps shifting. So we definitely have begun for the e-com, both through our website, through our .coms, and through the marketplace. So this year we have taken very aggressive target on that.
Right. So my last question is just a bookkeeping question. What are the current prices, sir, of TDI and polyol? I know these are fluctuating, but just to get a sense as to where they stand now.
Shiva, they are fluctuating so much that I also will not be able to read them out. But does anybody in the team have the prices?
Yeah, I can fill in on that.
Yeah, Nikhil. Yes.
So end of quarter one, the polyol price was at around 336, while that of TDI was around 240. And on a quarter ended quarter 4, that is March end, the same prices were 206 for polyol, and for TDI it was around 184. So both the commodities have seen about 15 to 20% increase.
So, Nikhil, you will also have to give the prices. That's in public domain, but it's covered and we can share that. Do we have the prices as of today?
As of today,
I can.
Yes, Rakesh.
Yeah, I can fill up. So TDI today is at 185, and polyol is at 220.
Okay. So, sir, can we say that the margins that we got to see in Q1 should at least be sustainable in Q2, if not bettering them, given the prices are slightly cooled off from the Q1 levels?
Yes, they cooled off and then they heated up again. But the average price, it should be similar. Throughout, if we will take the quarter average price, it should just be similar.
Okay. Sir, and the fact that the BASF plant in Germany has now opened, I think I saw that article last week. Should that help matters in bringing down the PTTDI prices?
Yes, Shiva, it should. But as I said, it's also not the availability locally, it's also the exportability which needs to come in, figure in, which is also ships and containers and all that kind of thing.
Right.
But yes, the BASF plant opening up will help the TDI price for sure.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Binoy Zariwala from Sunidhi Securities and Finance. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, we being a large, mattress player in the organized segment, I was just wondering, if the fluctuation in TDI and polyol prices is hitting us hard, despite our size and volume. I was just wondering that what happens in such a scenario to the unorganized sector, and this is, this thought is in the light of you mentioning that only 30% of Indians use modern mattresses, and of that 30% use mattresses from the organized segment. So just wondering your thoughts, if you could share on how do the unorganized sector behave during such times?
So the unorganized sector has one advantage, they can close and restart at any given time. They don't have a standard distribution system, don't have B2B sales at all, etc. And for them, availability of the raw material and converting it and then selling it is an activity which can happen and which can stop there. So that's how it operates.
So, sir, essentially during such times, the activity from the unorganized segment would be very low.
If we will take the period starting from Corona to now, yes, the share of the unorganized sector would have gone down. Absolutely. Understood. But as I said, it also keeps oscillating or fluctuating, but the share would have gone down.
Understood. And so last one from me is how much of raw material inventory of TDI and polyol do we maintain typically?
So within our plants, there would be at least 15 to 20 days of raw material. But let's just take, if we take one of them, which is polyol, there are local suppliers and there are these big companies who have tanks offshore or on the Indian shore. And so we have total visibility on the stocks in those tanks and the time that they are going to be refilled. So with that kind of a visibility, just a 20-day stock with us, it's far more than enough to take care of any eventuality. So.
And the new price. Sorry. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm just saying, just going by the books, we would say 15 to 20 days. However, if the prices are going up, this can change. Yes.
Understood. So on a related note, so whenever we would order, we would put in a fresh order with our suppliers is when the new price kicks in also, right?
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, Most of, let's take TDI.
Okay.
If you look at TDI, we buy 65, 70, 80% from the local company, GNFC, and for them, they change the prices when they feel like. There is no set frequency, and the price becomes applicable from the dispatch of that day. There is no pre-booking that I could do or anything like that. There is no, even if there were orders pending, it doesn't matter. It's from dispatch date, whatever is the price that becomes applicable. Polyol people tend to be a little more stable on that. They have a monthly pricing, but in the last 2 months, I have known them or known at least one of them to change the price midstream. Change means increase the price midstream, means middle of the month. So that kind of a chaos is there.
Understood.
And whatever little that we import, so we import some TDI. Polyols we don't import because they are available through 3, 4, 5 different sources, which is in the Indian rupees that we buy. We don't import it. But the other, some TDI that we import or some other chemicals, smaller chemicals that we would be importing, for them, the time that we have placed the order is the price, and then it ships and it comes here. And
Understood. And sir, TDI and polyol would account for what percentage of the RM cost?
In which product? It depends, If you will take a mattress, it's different. If you would take a company, B2B is different. But if you would look at the whole company as one big entity, Nikhil, you want to answer that question?
Yeah.
Polyol, TDI.
If you take at overall India level, out of the total RMC consumption, polyol TDI put together would range between 40 to 50%.
Sorry, I couldn't get that. How much is it?
Around 50. Yeah.
50% of RM cost.
Yeah. So the total 50% will be the polyol plus TDI from the total RM cost.
Understood. That's it all. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you very much, all of you, for joining in and for giving us an opportunity to share with you our performance of Q1 FY22. Very unstable times, and I would say in hindsight, we would probably remember them as times where something new was innovated, or methods or processes which were innovated to tackle these unstable times. We expect things to ease out as soon as Corona begins to ease out, and some more stability kind of coming in, whether it is on the raw material side coming into the country, or it is the exports that we are doing. However, I just want to reiterate that for this instability, all the countermeasures that we can take or we can source, we are working on them, and we are witnessing, or we are not witnessing. We are sure that most of them would have a good impact in the coming time. So thank you very much. And as always, these questions help us to improve and to get better. And we are happy to connect up offline for any other detailed questions that may be. So thank you. And Nihal, thank you very much for moderating this call.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Edelweiss Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.